Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, Capricorn, this is a bonus reading, and our card tonight is the Page of Wands, which equates to the Princess of Wands in the Thoth system. I usually use the Thoth cards, but we're using the Carnival at the end of the world for our bonus readings. And so let's take a look. Let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. Also, if you want to like or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay. So we have some interesting faces, and I get the feeling that there is kind of a family project underway. It's something where you're maybe working with even extended family, and we'll go back and take a look there. We also have the numbers 999. And you can tell it's the 9 and not the 6 because of the little dot. All right. So here, the first thing I really saw was we have this beautiful face of, it looks like a deer. Yeah, it looks like a deer. And you can even see kind of like antlers up top there. And you can see, let's see, let me show you here. We have the eyes, we have the nose, we have the little mouth here. Okay. And so the deer represents a very sacred moment in one's life. These are times when we are really encountering the divine. This is kind of like, well, suddenly you notice kind of something going on just beneath the surface, right? You start to recognize repeating numbers or synchronicities, certain words or energies that are being felt throughout all sectors of your life. That is home, work, social, and so on, right? It's not just happening in one place. This is like flowing through your entire existence. And so I feel like there's probably some degree of maybe dream communication happening. Maybe you are having visions. You are having moments when you're kind of sitting around, you're daydreaming, your mind is drifting, maybe you're contemplating, but you're getting really intense kind of spiritual downloads, coming to understandings that maybe you had really kind of no frame of reference for, but it is still really kind of potent in the front of your mind, okay? If you are a person that has an internal dialogue, you are maybe a person who has the ability to visualize your thoughts. Now, I know that you're probably thinking like, duh, everybody can. No, apparently no. That's not true. There are lots of people who can, or they do not, I don't know if they can, but they do not have like visual representations in their mind's eye. Or they have no interior internal dialogue. That is, that they are not having kind of conversations with themselves, right? Silently in their head. Well, I talk to myself constantly, both verbally and in my head. So when I found this out, I thought, well, what the heck are they doing? You know, they just have a different way of processing information. And maybe you are one of these people. But I do feel that there is really this visual aspect to what's going on, because I really do feel you kind of just on this almost brilliant journey in your mind. Now, we also have the goddess up here. You can see a primordial goddess here, kind of arms raised. I would assume that this is maybe a mother goddess, a middle goddess, and one that is related to creativity, also to this wand energy, that fire element, okay? So this really kind of makes me believe that you're not only going through this very spiritual moment in your life, this time of awakening, but you are finding your way towards kind of expressing some of the stuff that's coming up. Now, you might be an artist, you might be a musician, a writer, maybe some other kind of work or passion that allows you to be creative. Okay, whatever that looks like. Maybe you're like, you know, designing landscapes or you know, I can't think of something. You make, you know, I don't know, you scoop ice cream and you make beautiful, ornate, you know, versions of your sundaes or whatever. You are talented and creative in some capacity, even if you don't recognize it as being so. You might be sitting here thinking, I'm not an artist, I don't know how to draw, I don't paint, I have no desire to do so, Lenore. Well, that doesn't mean that you're not creative. Now, on the side over here, we have, it looks like the Knight of Swords, okay? And we can see that that is so, and well, I guess in this system, it would be the King of Swords, okay? And we can see this because we have a seated figure here. Now holding the sword right there. So I do believe that we have the queen of, or we have a goddess, a primordial goddess, who is a middle goddess who has a lot to do with fertility, creativity, the muse, inspiration. So very much in line with that wand energy. Now, we also have with that masculine sword energy, which is an airy energy. The wand energy is a fiery energy. We do have this almost kind of combustible mixture of two things, okay? A very dry air and a fire that is hungry, right? And so I feel that these passions, these spiritual passions, these kind of desires to connect to something is very much in your mindset right now. So not only do I see you getting into this very spiritual place and having these encounters, but also finding a way to really kind of release that creative energy. These two things are true, but also looking for some kind of community or fellowship or partnership. I feel you really wanting to at least find a person. And now you're a Capricorn, and I understand the whims only because I am a Capricorn rising. And I feel like it is a very prominent aspect of my own being. But this desire to relate, to connect to somebody, but it's not so much a desire to take on a whole world, social framework of this person. So I could see you when you are looking for a partner or somebody to be friends with, close with, you don't necessarily love right? Being kind of entangled with somebody who is very social, who has a lot of people in their lives, who is, very motivated by their social connections, how people perceive them, all of this kind of stuff. Like a Capricorn person who, and this is like a real, very contemporary, modern situation here. But like, if you could imagine trying to date somebody who's like an influencer, or not even an influencer, they are somebody aspiring to be an influencer or some kind of, internet personality, and everything they do, everything from the moment they wake up, they're, taking videos of, they're taking pictures of their food, of how their, kids, or their bathroom sink is set up before they brush their teeth, or, whatever. And every aspect of their day, their interactions, it is basically fair use for them to put up on the internet. And for a Capricorn, I could see that being something that you are not interested in. Not interested in being involved in that kind of openness. There's a privacy that is cherished by Capricorn people. So I see you wanting, or even having, a connection with somebody who is kind of on the same energetic wave as you, okay? And so I do. You're very picky, as you should be. We all should be. Waiting for the person, or, cultivating a relationship with somebody who kind of has at least similar ideas about how to exist in the world. Now, everything doesn't have to be the same. Sometimes it's a really good idea to go on a spiritual journey, do magical work with, creative work, collaborations with people who are outside of, kind of the established little world that you have created. And sometimes, we need to be around people who kind of challenge our interests, our worldview, our comfort. But I don't think to a point where, it kind of causes so much stress that that's what you're focused on, not in the building together. Okay? So I do see you kind of really, to some degree, looking for maybe a love connection, but definitely a partnership. Okay? Now, we have a goat here who looks like they are ascending a mountain. And, of course, we are talking to you, so the goat seems to be, a most welcome sign. But I do feel you kind of really kind of grinding in this next period of time. And what does that mean? Yeah, working hard. Okay, getting some money together. Really focused on the spiritual aspects of your life, the creative aspects of your life. But of course, a Capricorn is never, ever going to neglect your career, your work life, that business you want to start, that side hustle, that project. You are in it. You are in it. You are in it. And I see, this is a time where money, and we have a big fish over here, and the fish really, it represents kind of a flow of resources into your life. The money is coming. The money is there. Now, we have a peacock who is roosting up here. You can see the long tail and kind of the little head with the little tassels or whatever they have on their head. So we do have kind of this almost showy energy, but it is one that is reserved. right? And this is the thing about Capricorns, right? You could be, you know, so insanely beautiful, so very talented, have something so unique that you only show those who you're very close with, right? I see you as being somebody who is maybe a little bit more subdued, a little bit more, well, I don't want to say conservative because it's not conservative, but maybe somebody who has a tendency towards kind of more simple, more plain. Nothing too wild or loud or showy or ostentatious or any of that. But I could see you having those qualities, but they are kept, right? Almost as a mystery. And that's what I feel. Like, kind of like the amazement. If you've ever seen or noticed maybe like a moth, right? Just the plain brown, looks like it's super, you know, kind of boring. It's camouflaged to, like, you know, whatever wood it's on or the side of the house or whatever. And then it kind of opens its wings and you see it has these very interesting markings and maybe even some, you know, tones of red, and it's circles and beautiful, and you think, oh my gosh, it's like really hiding these beautiful aspects of itself. Well, I feel like, yeah, and it's not so much even that you're hiding, you don't, whatever it is that you find valuable about yourself, it is not for everyone. You are very selective, okay? And I don't think that that is a bad thing. Not at all. I think it brings you a lot of peace, usually, actually. And so I want to see in this next couple weeks, what is going to be going on for you, Capricorn? Okay, what is the energy here? So we're going to use our Oracle of the Radiant Sun. I'm going to pick about 3 to 6 cards, depending on how clear things kind of are. And we're just going to kind of stop where it feels right. We have practicality. We have criticism. We have optimism. Publicity. That's funny. I've never gotten that one. But, oh, an achievement. But it makes sense. We were kind of just talking about this, right? Flirtation. Okay. So I immediately, oops, and here we go. We have inspiration and empathy kind of jumped out as well. I can tell you, like, a couple years ago, I guess, my husband, shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. His name is Paul. He's an amazing tarot reader. Go check him out. Again, it's Dove, like the bird, and Serpent, like the snake, Tarot. And Dove and Serpent Tarot. Well, anyways, we're just regular people, right? Obviously, you know, it's no, when you meet people who have channels, or they have, you know, maybe an account on some other platform and they've really built it up. And then you meet them and you're like, okay, this is just a normal, boring person. Well, we're just normal people, you know, with our little family and our little business, and we just kind of, you know, do our thing or whatever. So a few years ago, my husband, he decided, yeah, he wanted to start doing tarot on YouTube. And I thought, okay, I don't know. I'd never even thought about making a YouTube video, if I'm being honest with you. I watched it, but I had never, you know, put anything up on there or whatever. And so I thought, I don't know. And then, right, it started getting going, and then I started my channel, and it started getting going, and Not that we have a lot of publicity, not at all really, but yeah, you start to like feel a little strange because all of a sudden you're plugged into a place where you're encountering a lot of energies, a lot of different people. And we've been recognized in real life, you know, and well, he has. You guys don't see my face that much, so you maybe wouldn't recognize, or well, you might notice me. I don't know. But yeah, and that was weird. That was super weird. It actually really freaked me out. It made me very defensive. I was not happy about it, to be real with you. So I understand as a Capricorn ascendant, and maybe you can understand this too, is that when you are kind of in a situation where you know the person, you maybe even love the person, you're interested in them, you have a wonderful rapport, life behind the scenes or whatever, it's still, I could see being kind of something that makes you really uncomfortable. And maybe it is a kind of, you know, this is a deal breaker. And that's understandable, right? I feel you, though. I feel you really, yes. I can see you kind of really in this practical space where it's like, I just want to live my life, right? I know I'm good at what I do. I don't want to make it complicated. All of that stuff is very complicated. Not what you are envisioning for yourself or for the lifestyle that you want to live, right? Or having a partnership or a household that has this tie to the open world, right? But at the same time, I feel like maybe there's an underlying attraction to it all. You know, maybe it is. Maybe you do meet somebody who, in some capacity, you know, maybe they're a well-known artist or, you know, locally known musician or, well, and I'm using the example of, you know, being an online person, content creator or whatever it is. And maybe it's giving you some ideas about maybe something you yourself can do, because I do see how talented you are. I also see how back and forth you can be. I think that you stand really strong on not ever wanting to feel like a hypocrite. There's almost kind of a pride in sticking with how, you know, almost kind of sometimes maybe you're a little dogmatic, right? You have a perception of something, you have an opinion about something, and you want to stick with it. You don't want to be like all wish-washy about things. But yeah, we all hold some degree of cognitive dissonance. We all kind of have moments where we think, ugh, never, I would never want to do that. And then we realize that's actually something that seems pretty cool. That's actually something that maybe I, you know, would really love to partake in, or maybe I just give it a try and then you find out, oh, this is like the best thing ever, right? So I do see you kind of in this flirtation with, yeah, maybe being somebody who is a public figure yourself. Now in America, right, we're in an election year. Super cringe, right? Not because of the election, but because of how, you know, people behave. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. And I could see, you know, and this maybe is something that would feel very off the wall for a Capricorn, but makes sense because of being in a leadership role. Maybe you've taken an interest in local politics, you know, Now, I grew up in cities, so I never really thought about local politics too much beyond, voting for the school and, little issues or whatever, things that they wanted to fund and whatever. But I never thought about, like, people actually just can run for different positions within their local community because there's so many people. It never really seemed obtainable. Now I have been living in smaller and smaller towns over the last like 10 years or so, and I've gotten to know small town life. And here, yeah, you could totally become mayor of a little town somewhere. You could totally get involved with the local politics on all levels. And I see people doing it, and it's a lot of work, and it's something that you end up having to be a pretty public person to some degree, right? And you're involved in dealing with people and the community and the situations and so on. I can almost see you maybe coming into this place where you're thinking, I want to make a change because nobody out here is, kind of speaking my mind or they're not aligned with anything that I really feel about the world or, the vision that I have for the future. And so maybe this is another kind of avenue of influence that you might be able to kind of get into. And so, yeah, I'm interested. I am interested in hearing about, what is it for you? What is your far off dream? Even if it's something that you've never even really thought about too deeply, or you've never said it to anybody, right? I often hear from people that, through the channel, but also people I just, meet or know in real life, and they find out what kind of things do you do? And I tell them, and they're like, oh, well, I always wanted to be like a news anchor or a journalist or, I met somebody who was telling me that they used to do, videos for public access back in the day, which, listen, shout out to public access TV. I love it. I was obsessed with it when I was, in my late teens and my 20s. All kinds of shows everywhere. I lived all over the country, and everywhere I went, there was just awesome stuff being made. And so, you never know. You never know what you might find that might be of great interest to you. So, I personally really, really hope that you follow your instincts and just try some things out. Just try it out. So let's do our lucky numbers. We're going to roll this 3 times. We're going to do 3 lucky numbers. Okay, so we have number 40. 40. 40. 11. 40, 11, 71. 40, 11, and 71. All right. Now, we're going to do our inner child oracle cards, and I'm just going to flip through and pick one. This will punctuate our reading, kind of leave us with something to think about. And I'm going to flip through here. Stop where it feels right. And it says, number 30, say yes. My favorite Elliott Smith song is called Say Yes. Go listen to it if you've never heard Elliott Smith. Now is the time to be open and receive. Now is the time to be open and receive. Yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to this trying some things out, right? Now, here's one of my own little things too. If you're somebody who has thought about making content, but you're shy. I mean, I am. I get this question a lot. I just posted some pictures the other day in the community section, and people have said, I want you to be on camera. I'd love to see your face while you're doing your readings and so on. Now, I don't like to be on camera. It makes me feel self-conscious is one thing. But it's not even so much I care if people, if you think I'm pretty or not. Or it's not so much that. I don't like being observed. I know, and it's weird because I'm recording videos. But I don't like people to look at my face. I don't necessarily love to make eye contact. I force myself to. But there's just, and maybe I'll work towards it. I don't know. But there's just something about being in front of the camera with my face and looking at the camera or trying not to look at the camera or whatever. It gets me so in my head. But here's the secret is that if you are somebody like me and you don't want to be on camera, you don't want to, you feel nervous about talking to people or doing whatever, there are a lot of ways that you can make content without having to really talk to anybody. I sit here and I feel really confident because I feel like I'm, very engaged with spirit. I feel like I'm in a space that is my own, and I'm receiving information and I'm doing my readings. But ultimately, I don't feel the stressor that is to be encountered by somebody else, right? Immediately in the now. And so, yes, and this is really, I wouldn't really give this little talk to anybody else but a Capricorn because I know we kind of, I don't know that we're shy. I don't know that we necessarily like to perform for other people, right? In the immediate, And so, yeah, there are ways. If you have any interest and if you have any questions about getting started or, whatever, feel free to comment or email me. I love talking about it. I love chit-chatting about the process of starting a channel, starting online personas. And I say that not from doing these readings, but as I've stated before, I'm pretty heavily into the internets and, into meme culture and stuff. So some of those places are interesting, to say the least. So, anyways, Capricorn, I want to tell you I love you and I thank you for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, absolutely go ahead. I read all the comments. It is free to subscribe to the channel. There's also a membership tier. It's like a support tier basically. And if you're interested in doing that, I never mention it. I forget it's there, to be honest, sometimes. But yes, that is there. It also gives you access to our Discord, which is like a chat room kind of. All right, so Capricorn, I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night, good night, good night.